defense, off of defensive energy.
I don't know if you've seen there's a tie-break sheet that the SEC put out, and it's just amazing how many teams are just clumped up there at the top. How important are these next two games in the scope of things?
Well, tomorrow night is so important because it doesn't matter what anybody else does. If we win tomorrow night, we leave tomorrow night in first place with one game to play. And I think anybody who's followed the program for any period of time would know that's a huge thing happening for us. So I haven't looked at anybody a whole lot except for South Carolina, and I think it shows that we have a good, healthy league this year, a tough league. Anybody can win on a given night, and it's probably the most balanced that we've been in a while. So I think that's fun and good for the Southeastern Conference. But for us, just trying to figure out a way to bring the right kind of energy one more time at home will help us, I think, move in the direction of victory.
I talked to a couple of players yesterday, and both of them mentioned that the first 4 minutes are the key for this team. Do you think that's true? And does that worry you that that's in their heads, that maybe if they don't play well for the first 4 minutes, then maybe?
Well, I think they're probably saying that because in our 3-game losing streak, it was so bad. I mean, we fell behind, and when we had been good, we had come out of the blocks, sprinting and sort of with the kind of defensive energy that let a team know that you are in for a fight. And so, we've been starting some games, the other team 11-4 and 9-2 and stuff like that, and then that's you're not playing, you're back on your heels now, and you're starting to question yourself. I do think that defensive energy and confidence is important for this team. I think if we start out not hustling, that starts to create some doubt in everybody's mind, and our system doesn't work if you're hesitant. You have to be going full speed.
You mentioned Vandy coming back on you. They threw a lot of pressure defense, actually a lot of traffic. You gave up quite a bit of your lead. I'm really concerned at this stage of the year with the experience your kids have.
Well, what Vanderbilt did is they just went switching man to man, and I just thought we were not nearly aggressive enough. And we have that tendency sometimes to not attack if we're not just completely sure. So sometimes I'm trying to get them, 70% sure, just go ahead and go. I think our kids want to do so well, and we hold them to a high standard. And I think sometimes that's something I have to work with them on. They want to be 100% sure, and that's in that kind of situation, we needed to go make some plays, and I thought we just hesitated long enough to let Vanderbilt get us out of rhythm. And then Vanderbilt was obviously desperate to try to get back into the game, and maybe we were trying to protect the lead. A lot of factors go into that, but I am encouraged with what I see our team doing right now, and I think we're moving forward.
I think South Carolina's beaten Vandy a couple times this year, if I'm not mistaken. Does this provide matchup problems for you? Or?
Well, what South Carolina does so well is they have 3 dynamic guards. They have 3 top-level guards. I think probably all 3 of them will be considered for all conference honors. And if you are not really solid and all 5 players playing together, there's going to be occasions in the game where one of those guards breaks you down, and if your teammates aren't really in tune, then they can spread you out. And Coach Staley does such a great job of trying to find where your weakness is, and they try to find the mismatch, and they do a good job of that. So I just think them being so well coached and having such versatile guards poses a lot of difficulty for us.
Can you talk a little bit about when you first knew you were getting Keela, just how that all worked out from Akron and her coming out, and just what she's been able to do since then?
That's a great story. I'm glad I get to tell it finally after all these years, because it's way heavy on my heart. But I was spurned by Keela Snowden as the head coach at Morehead State She would not speak to me. She just, I don't even know if she knew my name when I was the head coach of Morehead State. And then suddenly, I became the head coach of Kentucky, and then she thought that I had learned enough where then I could coach her. She hates when I tell that story that way. I tell it to the kids 3 or 4 times a year, and it really upsets Keela. But I did. I tried to, when I was at Morehead State, I went out and watched Keela a lot that summer. And Keela was very thin and, you know, was sort of, I think people questioned her size. I think they questioned her. They would look at her and they'd kind of put her in a box that she's just a 3-point shooter and she can't play on a high level. And a lot of times when you're out in the summer and you're looking at players, you just go to one game and you try to make an evaluation. And sometimes you can go see a kid like Adia Mathis play one time and she's up at the rim and exploding, and it doesn't take you long to get an evaluation. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes people miss, and I think everybody missed on Keela. And so what it was down to was some not top level schools. It was some one bid league type leagues were recruiting her. And so you'd have to ask Keela about the Akron situation, but I did try to recruit her to Morehead State, and that was not successful. And so she went to Akron and had a fantastic year, but like a lot of kids, wanted to get back closer to home. And we were just starting our run here and having a hard time convincing people to come to Kentucky. And I had watched her, and I thought, I remember telling Mickey and Pam Stackhouse at Kentucky at the time, I said, not necessarily they were missing out on her, but I thought that Keela was a higher level player than the teams that were recruiting her. And obviously now she has shown that she is a high level player. And what she's done for us has been amazing. And just from the perspective of a young woman, she came here as a standstill shooter, and we told her that wasn't going to cut it. And she had a lot of days where I'm sure she was doubting herself, but to her credit, she bowed up and fought, and not many kids I'm prouder of than Keela Snowden.
This entire senior class is sort of accidental, and then they weren't supposed to be here this year. Does that make them maybe more special because they weren't?
Yeah, I just, it was great to have Amber back for a 5th year. So grateful to Crystal and Keela, because that was the recruiting class that we just were having a hard time with. We couldn't convince anybody that I thought we needed to convince to come here. And so those 2 kids, we were real fortunate that they decided that they wanted to go somewhere else, and we were very fortunate that Kentucky was the place they decided to come. And Crystal Riley has just been a joy to coach. She's just been a person that has always done what we've asked her to do. She's battled through injuries and never complained, and she's had as much to do with our success as anybody. And those 2 that transferred in when we really didn't have a class are real close to my heart.
Becky, what about Amber just going through not one but 2 torn ACLs and just cutting it out?
Yeah, you just have to really admire a player who had to try to reinvent herself twice. She was so dynamic. Her freshman year, it was just like, a stick of dynamite. And then that injury, that was a tough injury. It was the last play of the half at Tennessee, and she was really hitting her stride. And really, the physical battle is substantial to come back, but the emotional toll coming back from one is incredible. And then, losing after she had finally, I thought she really struggled her sophomore year, and then her junior year she got back, and it almost took her 2 years to get back. And what was so tough about the second one was she really had her game going and was back, and then it was her senior year, and she was so close to Victoria and Carly. and not to go out with them, I think, was really, really tough on her. But she has, again, battled back, and she has done the very best she could do this year. And, you know, she's shown a lot of strength through those 2 injuries.
A lot of kids say, well, I like to lead by example. And it takes a different kind of kid to be vocal and verbal. What does it mean to a coach to have somebody like Amber who's not afraid to put herself out there like that?
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a kid that the fans embraced more and enjoyed more. And, you know, I think she was somebody that the fans really, really enjoyed here at Kentucky.
Matthew, are you going to start your seniors? Or?
I'm not. We'll start Amber, but Crystal has, Crystal Riley is a very important part of our rotation, and our backup point guard, and so she'll be a huge part of the game. Keela is a huge part of our rotation coming off the bench, and you know, I think she's the best 6th player in the league, and I hope she wins that award. But you know, there's so much on the line tomorrow night that I think those kids want to win an SEC championship or beat South Carolina more than they want to do something ceremonial. So that's not, you know, if for some reason we were in some kind of position where the game didn't count for a whole lot in the standings and didn't impact our future, then maybe I would go a different route. But we're not going to go that route this time. Given the emotions that can run, are you concerned at all about a loss of focus? You know what? I'm not. I think our team knows what needs to happen, and I think they are going to stay focused on what we need to do to win this game. And I'm going to do my best to just keep the focus on that, winning this game. And you know, we've had some tough times. You know, I don't know who doesn't struggle on senior night. Sometimes we've had some struggles there, so I'm always a little bit worried about it. But we have probably one of the better teams. I think it's always just to have a good team going into senior night and then try to figure it all out, and the emotions kind of get wiped away. And you know, we had the year we had Amani and Lydia. They were real emotional, but we played great. Last year, I think we won the buzzer, you know, and I think Victoria was a real emotional player, and you know, maybe she didn't have the best of nights, but there's not a lot I can do about that. I just have to try to tell the team they know we need to beat South Carolina, and so I'll approach it that way. Would love to get a win and send the seniors out right.
Do you ever have a private moment with the seniors before a game like this, or immediately afterwards, to just say, this is what I think about it?
Well, yeah, we'll not around the game. We'll try to have if we can find a way to win, we'd like to have a public moment, let the crowd say goodbye to them. We're going to have a nice ceremony for them before the game. And then last year was so great. We won, you know, at the end, and the crowd was really charged up. We had a chance to really recognize those kids, and I think that's a special thing. But those things aren't really ever scripted out. And we spend a lot of time with our players, and we'll certainly try to spend some time with them. We got a lot of basketball left to play.
I've heard you generally give pretty compelling speeches pre-senior games. What are you going to say to your kids about these seniors and winning for these seniors? You know yet?
I don't. I've not gotten that far in my preparation. But, I am glad to hear someone said that I said something compelling. I'm stunned. Really, I'm more stunned about that. That's throwing me off here. I'll tell you what, this is not a night that I'm going to make a real big deal about anything other than trying to beat South Carolina, because this is not a night where we need to get nostalgic at all. We need to, this team has a ton to accomplish. So, you know, I don't think this will be the time where we, you know, try to win one for the giver. We need to win, we need to beat South Carolina to get a whole lot of things accomplished that this team's capable of doing. So it'll be a tough game, and you I just have to believe the team will be ready to go.
Any other questions for Coach Mitchell?
I want y'all to grill these seniors, man, please, please.